to the Fluffy Radish live stream on Twitch. Today we are honored to have a very special guest, BigBaldBen.
Yay!
I didn't want to have to nudge you and say hello, BigBaldBen.
Well, I got the Twitch stream up and it is far behind, so I won't look at that.
There's a 5-second delay, so don't look at it.
5 seconds.
5 seconds.
I can barely do live. Stream up and it is.
Hear that? That's 5 seconds off.
I heard me. Yeah. Okay.
So thank you
Gotcha.
for joining, BigBaldBen. This should be chaotic and absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
So
I'll try to live up to that.
People asking, who is this bald, handsome, strapping individual with the Fallout cup and the amazing beard? I noticed the Fallout cup. BigBaldBen is a musician from Central Pennsylvania who is a one-man operation. He writes and produces heavy rock, grunge, and metal music, often with 2- and 3-part vocal harmonies. Dare I say that is your signature style?
It is.
Influences. BigBaldBen's musical style is heavily influenced by bands like Alice in Chains, Galactic Cowboys, and King's X. He has several singles and albums, including his debut album Resurrection in September 2024 and his second album Continuum in March 2025. While largely a one-man project, BigBaldBen sometimes collaborates with other artists. Ben is active on social media platforms like Bandcamp, Instagram, and X, where he shares updates on his music. So please join me in welcoming BigBaldBen. Clap, clap, clap.
Yay!
Yay, golf clap. So welcome, BigBaldBen. So first and foremost, let me ask this. What other musical styles have you been influenced by? And I confess that this came right off the press with AI, where it poked and prodded your online fingerprint and said, oh, BigBaldBen, Alice in Chains, Galactic Cowboys, King's X. What other influences do you have that kind of stir all up in the BigBaldBen pot?
Well, I mean, grunge is a huge one. So Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains obviously is the one I get compared to a lot because I do the dual lead vocals and the harmonizing a lot, and I don't know what it's called, but there's a certain kind of harmony that I'm doing with Alice in Chains and stuff. Mm-hmm. And but I kind of grew up on metal, some of the harder metal. In fact, I was a big fan of. Jazz? No, not so much jazz. No, not so much.
I said such as. I'm sorry.
I think you said jazz.
Yes, BigBaldBen is
not jazz.
musician.
Not jazz.
Not
no.
jazz.
Yeah, so I was big into metal until grunge kind of broke, and then I really shifted over to grunge, and so, but I've come back to metal, so I like grunge metal, stuff like that. Megadeth is one of my favorite bands. As well, and I sneak a little Dave Mustaine vocals into a little Dave Mustaine snarl into my vocals. Hey, only the host. When I can, and like on the newest song, in fact, I do a little Dave Mustaine kind of snarl at the beginning. So,
hello, me.
I got all kinds of influences.
So you're fairly eclectic. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I mean, heavy. Heavy's the main thing.
Heavy eclectic. So yeah. You said like old school metal, and I said jazz, but I actually meant to say like such as, and I think you mentioned Megadeth. What other musical styles influenced you as you were developing as an artist?
Yeah. So, I really didn't start playing or doing anything until I was probably 16, 17. Mm-hmm. And, Suicidal Tendencies was a big one for me. They were kind of in my formative years. It's really like Suicidal Tendencies a lot. And Megadeth. About that time was Rust in Peace and Symphony of Destruction in that era. And I really also liked, oddly enough, the hip hop metal crossovers. Bring the Noise was huge for me, with Public Enemy and Anthrax, and then and Body Count, Ice-T's project, that first album. I played the crap out of that. So yeah, so pretty diverse. Public Enemy was probably one of my favorite groups also around that time. Although I don't, you don't hear too much Public Enemy in my music. So, but one thing I did like about them was just kind of like the wall of noise, and so I think I bring some of that to my music as well because my music is very thick. Not a lot of room to breathe in a lot of my songs. So
interesting. Yeah, I actually just saw that Public Enemy was on a late night talk show, I think like yesterday or this past week, and they were, if I'm not mistaken, talking about that they were dropping a new album. So that's kind of exciting because they're getting up there in age, but they still got it.
Yeah, I heard the new album. I think it came out a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
They're old. The problem with the new album is they mix in samples from when they were younger. And like Flavor Flav, man, his voice, like, you can tell it's old now. And so, you hear him all of a sudden doing his rap as an old dude, and then they throw in him saying something from an old clip, and it's like, who's that young kid, and then you just notice it more, more even more when they put it right next to each other like that. So
yeah, they performed live, and I forget who it was. It was one of the guys that got canned and then came back, but they were they were definitely showing their age, Flav especially. But I mean, it's Chuck D, right? Isn't he pretty much the main lyricist? He still had that he's always had a very strong, like, commanding
distinct
voice. Yeah, right. And I'd heard some videos. I think Body Count had played, at the Ozzy tour. I think they did, and I saw some of the videos, and Ice-T, he's really getting up there. Like, his vocal range was, very narrow. But hey, more power to him. If I'm that age and I'm still able to, pull that off, that's living good. That's living a full life.
Well, yeah. So for those that don't know, you and I were in a band many moons ago.
I thought you looked familiar. So take us.
Yeah, you were the guitarist in my band.
I was the guitarist in your band. Okay. I'll
I remember it.
So take us back in time. When was this?
So we're talking, what was it? It was like 90, 94, 95, maybe 96, 95, 96, maybe?
Yeah, it was 95.
Band was Cesspool. Yeah. And so we recently, as you know, got a hold of the demos and the tracks from the demos. Our bass player had the demo tracks, and I got to hear myself singing as a young pup, and so a lot of the stuff I'm saying about Public Enemy can be applied to me now because I'm like, man, how did I hit those notes? How did I effortlessly just blow out the amplifiers and stuff with my voice and holding notes and stuff. It's insane. So I'm one. I feel it. So.
Mm-hmm. So that was a few years ago. Then, huh? 95-ish.
Yeah.
So, wow. And I thought you looked vaguely familiar. Now it's coming back to me. BigBaldBen. Yeah, and back then I was going by the moniker of the Dominator, and we were on the same radio station together as DJs.
Yes, we were DJs.
Yes.
You were the Dominator, and I knew of you before I knew you because you had signs all over campus. And yes. I don't think it was you, though, right? It wasn't you? Somebody else put signs all over campus with your name and said Dominator loves you and wrote your name in the snow and all that stuff, or was that you?
Yeah, there was a rabid fan base. I mean, it was a small private college, right? So they didn't have a lot to do. So, some people really kind of got into the whole moniker, and it started out as Dan and the Dominator. Remember that?
I do.
My dear friend Dan Schultz was a radio, what was it called? Radio music, television, whatever, RTS, I think. But he was a major, and so he was doing a radio show, and he said, you got to swing by sometime. I'm like, all right. This was, I think, the fall of '93, and he, just pulled me in and said, all right, let's do a show together, and you know what? It's kind of like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, and I'm like, I like this. So yeah. So Dan and the Dominator, and then the Dominator, and you were the Minister of Noise, if I recall.
I was the Minister of Noise with the Culture Shock radio program.
The Culture
They
Shock.
put me on at 10 p.m. at night because the stuff I played was a little too heavy for mainstream.
Like 5 p.m. rotation.
Yeah.
So you were cranking it out, huh?
Yeah, and of course, you know, and my anti-authoritarian streak continued there quite well. The FCC called us once because we fired up the radio station over Christmas break. Nobody was supposed to, you know, they were supposed to be off air.
Right.
And a buddy of mine were like, we're just going to go in for 2 hours and fire up the signal and do our show. Ring, ring, ring. My buddy answered, and he was like, his face just went like white. He's like, okay, we didn't know. And he's like, you know, you could be fined and all this other stuff. So, yeah, you know, it was good times.
That's probably not the kind of phone call you want to receive at any junction in your radio career.
No.
So that's kind of how we met. We were on the radio together. We did some collaborations back and forth. I would show up on your show, you would show up on mine, and that was, I think, kind of the radio culture back then, right? Like, it was just, you know, hey, who's on right now? Let's call in, or let's just show up at the studio and kind of hang out and goof off and stuff. It was some fun times. So
we did the.
Oh, go ahead.
I think did I do the involuntary request with you at any point?
I do not recall. Walk me through it.
I think we did. Well, instead of people calling us to request music because nobody really listened, we would call people and demand that they give us a song to play.
Give us a song. Kind of the reverse call-in. That's rather brilliant.
Yeah.
And that kind of encapsulates it all, right?
It met with mixed success. But anyway.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't mean to hijack going back memory lane, but
this is an interview, BigBaldBen.
We have a history.
We do have a history. And you were at my wedding, and I was in your wedding. So just a few years, we have some history. So all that to say, 95, 96, we're in a band called Cesspool. We're obviously, you know, brilliant musicians at the time.
Huge.
Young pups. And so fast forward to your first album was released 2024, is that accurate?
2023. 2023.
Okay. So kind of two questions. First and foremost is, what was your journey musically to become an independent artist? And then the second part is, what the heck is an indie artist anyway?
Cool. Yep. So I kind of continued to do songwriting after the band came to its glorious end. Did my own songwriting and continued to do that, and I put together a couple of albums that nobody will ever hear. I think maybe you heard some of them, but and was doing that by myself until I kind of realized that, you know, hey, I wasn't gonna be able to make a living at this stuff. Kind of put it off to the side for a few years, and then kind of revisited around 2016. But, you know, I'm not sure why I was really doing it, just for fun, I guess. But then probably about 2022, my youngest son started getting into music and was listening to my stuff and wanted to write some songs together. So we did a few songs, and then I was like, hey, this stuff is, you know, just kind of amazed at how technology came along and how much easier a lot of things were that we were trying to do back in the early 2000s and even in the 90s. And I was like, you know, I had an urge to do some stuff on my own. So I started getting stuff together and wrote some songs, and I tried some mixing myself and stuff, but I don't have an appetite for it. I'm not good at it, and I don't really care about it. So I did the best I could, and then I found a couple folks that mixed and worked with a couple people, and found one guy I really liked, and so started using him as a mixer, and just, you know, started writing songs and putting them out, you know, kind of as often as I could, you know, maybe once every couple of months I put out a new song and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know, I'm doing this, but, you know, so I started social media, and I'm like, that's cool because you can reach people. And then I found a couple of groups online of indie musicians, okay. Independent artists, and pause there. So indie artist, okay. Indie artist is basically somebody who's not signed to a label. I mean, that's an independent artist. Mostly when you say indie artists, it's just people who are recording this stuff, by whatever means necessary, whatever means available to them, whether they're using their own DAW at home. Some of them may have studio time. Some of them, heck, just plop out a tape recorder and press record on it. And then we work with lots of distributors. There's lots of distributors out there that will distribute to streaming services like Spotify, Apple, and stuff like that. And they pay a little bit to do that, do their own social media, and just try to get their music into the ears of people that want to hear it.
Interesting.
So that's what an indie artist is.
Okay.
And what I found was when I started going out in the into the world, into social media, I found some groups of indie artists that were like supportive of each other, and we're like, hey, let's listen to everybody's music and get some feedback and stuff. And awesome. One of them, in fact, was the Indie Music Hunt, and it was hosted by a guy named Only the Host online. And I remember the first song I got played on his show, I was like over the moon, because you just submit it and you play it, and then people in the chat will comment on it. And I got to know a lot of people, but I played my first song. I remember the first song, it was Reticent, which is a song I actually did with my son Logan. And just so many nice compliments about it, and people getting to know it and stuff. And so I kept submitting a song whenever I could and stuff, and then kind of got to know people on the stream, and they got to know me, and then that branched out because a couple people there started doing their own streams. I found another group called New Artist Spotlight that I'm also part of, and then from that one, there's a couple others that branched out from there. So it's just a lot of good community, a lot of positivity, which is great. Yeah, Hosty, yeah. Disjointed, I remember, was one of the first songs that I did on there. Reticent, I know, was the first one because everybody was talking about the drums and whether they were real or not. And I actually had a guy named Charles Connolly mix that song for Logan and I, and just did a fantastic job. And he's excellent with the drums. And it wasn't real drums, but I remember that was a big talking point. But then, yes, Disjointed was one of the, I think maybe the second song that was played on your show, and I remember your reaction to that one. You were very complimentary of that one. So, but yeah. So like I said, all these communities out there. Indie Boom Shockwave is a big one now. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights on Twitch at 9 p.m. Give them a follow. Join the chat. We usually have 20 to 30 people every night. I get on as often as I can. Been having some health issues lately. Muscle relaxers kind of knock me out, so I'll I'll just plop out, half hour into the show. But it's really cool and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I think just last Wednesday, they were eating hot sauce and stuff. And sometimes I get on co-host. I haven't been on for a while, but sometimes I get on co-host. I would have loved to have done that, but like I said, just all these indie artists out there, just doing their stuff, because really the cool thing about this is when people listen to your music, because I think that's why most of us are doing it. We just want ears on, we want to hear what people think, and we want to share our creativity and our thoughts and everything with other folks, and these communities allow us to do that. So
that's awesome. If you could, and I'm a big fan of networking, like if you could name drop in the chat, like the Twitch stream that you're referencing, we want to support. One is we want to support other streamers, and two is we absolutely want to support like the indie music scene. So feel free to drop that Twitch. Okay, thanks for that, Ben.
Hosty, did you get that right? Make sure I got that right. I just did it off of memory. I don't know if he's got an underscore or something in there. But yeah, that's the Indie Boom Shockwave one, the Twitch TV. I'm not sure. Hosty, you can throw yours in there too. I know you're doing Saturdays now, so throw yours in there too. But come to Indie Boom Shockwave, and you'll hear about all the other streams as well. So, they're going on. So, there's another one. That's at night. Hosty says no. Okay, well, trust me. Go to Indie Boom Shockwave. You'll see Hosty, and if you get involved, you'll be able to see all the other streams. But oh, okay, that's Indie Boom. Thank you. I didn't know if we got Indie Boom up there or not. So the other one, Doc Did It, Could you throw Doc Did It in the chat, Hosty? Thanks. So Doc Did It is another one. He does I'd say mostly rap, but he does all genres, and he's in the mornings, 10 o'clock, I think, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He just got a new place, a new pad, and also does some really cool really cool streams on there as well. So, and so I'll ask Hosty to throw those two in there, and it's a good place to get started. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. So what we'll do next, if you're okay with this, let's jump right in and listen to some of your music. So I'm going to pull up Spotify, Fallout. Stay hydrated. BigBaldBen says stay hydrated, and I'm a big fan of hydration. So cheers to you. I'm a big fan of a little Mio in my water to give it flavor. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to pull up, if I can, my friend Spotify, and we're just going to jump right in and listen to you cool with us playing the whole thing? This isn't like Dream Theater where it's like 17 minutes, right?
Are we able to talk over it or not?
We can do that. We can do whatever you want.
I don't care, man.
All right, let's.
Hey, by the way, you're doing remarkably well.
I am?
For a first stream? I mean, yeah. I mean, look.
Second stream. The first one was a wreck.
Well, that was a practice one, right?
It was, yes. No, you're very gracious.
You're doing great. I mean, we got Clismic James on Indie Boom Shockwave, man. That guy. Whew, he's been doing it for a year and a half, and I still got to correct him every 5 minutes. But I don't know what happens when I'm not there. I think the whole thing just
goes down the
blows up. Okay. But you're doing great, man.
I am touched that such an inspiration, such as BigBaldBen, has given me such an absolutely insane compliment. So let's do this. I'm going to jump over to my audio. And the song is called Fallout. Is that accurate? Thumbs up. And you know what? Let me make sure that Discord is playing. I love the technical details of it all. So here is Fallout by BigBaldBen, and away we go.
Oh, I can't hear it. I'm sad. I had to unmute the Twitch stream.
you never learn to know.
no. Spammers. Got a spammer in the chat. Execute them. Did you execute the spammer?
Execute the spammer. Oh,
the spammer in the chat.
There's a spammer in the chat. Are you referring to only the host?
No, you married Cask.
You married Cask. Cheap viewers on stream. Remove space. Oh, that's beautiful. I missed that. Let's grab them and drop kick them. First time. Yeah, you can tell I'm new to Twitch here.
You're doing a great job. Again, the bar is set so low with Clismic James.
You are very kind. And
you can clip that one too, Hosty.
Clip it. So first and foremost, as I was listening to that, like, it's very, very, like, I can see why Alice in Chains is absolutely one of your influences. Like, the layered vocals are just fantastic. I'll say that first and foremost.
Thanks.
And what I appreciate about your musical style, not just this song, but like across the board, is you tend to be, I think you used the word earlier of anti-establishment. And like that comes through, I think, in the music, in that you're atypical in how you approach it. So most modern American music is like verse, chorus, chorus, bridge out, 1-4-5, GCD, etc. You are very counter that, and that, I think, extends into your vocals, and this is just my opinion or my take, but that extends into the vocals where you go in different directions. So like you're moving in a direction and you think, oh, he's going to move up to this step because that's what makes logical sense based on most music. And it's like you just say no, like, and you go in a different direction, and then you'll put in maybe some dissonance that really hooks you, not just musically, but just like the vocals and everything. So it really works well together. Like Alice in Chains came through loud and clear, and the vocals, and I'll say this again, like the vocals I think are just fantastic. And across, and I've listened to a lot of your music, like across like your different songs, and your styles are very interwoven. The vocals are just such a strong suit. Being primarily a guitarist myself, the guitars are just fantastic. Like it's like a wall of sound. I appreciate that you put in like little pieces of almost dissonance, like a pinch harmonic or something here and there that really breaks up the monotony of like a standard riff. Like, so you've done some different, some squawks, and that takes me back to Public Enemy, and one of their signature sounds, which is throwing in almost industrial sounding squawks and squeaks and things that, are just break it up, and it's like a pinch of spice on your meatloaf, like just fantastic stuff. So that's kind of my take. Let me just ask this, like what inspired this song? And I'm going to assume that this is going to be part of an album. Like, what's the story behind this song? How did you approach it? How did you write it? And why did you write it?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for the compliments. I mean, all that stuff that you said is all stuff that I'm actually going for when I'm writing. I do exactly what you said, which is like, I'm like, I got the chord progression and I'll play it through and I'm like, yes, that makes sense. And then I'll be like, okay, so how do we change it? So whether it's taking the last chord in a riff and just going somewhere completely different, I like to do key changes and stuff like that as well. So with Fallout, the song was originally called 10 Ton Bomb. Fallout, the name of the song actually came at the very end of the process, because I had a different vocal in the chorus, different lyrics in the chorus, and didn't like it, so I eventually just changed it. But essentially, I was messing around. One of the things I've been trying to do more recently with the song before this, Inferno, and even Grift to a certain extent, songs I released this year, was try to be simpler on the riffs because I think I was trying to be too crazy with some of them. It felt like in my songwriting, and I write a lot of songs, so the songs that I put out are not all the songs that I've written. So the songs that I was writing, the riffs were getting too complex, and it kind of felt like it was bogging things down, bogging down the energy of the song. So for Inferno and for Fallout, I'm just like, I need to just do something simple, but something that gets you moving, and so stop being so complex and just play something that sounds good. And so that's what I did. I was actually messing around with Alice in Chains' song "Grind." It's like a dun 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 dun, dun, and I was like, okay, let me mess around with that, speed it up a little bit, and just was like, hey, instead of a chord at the end there, maybe just play a single note, and that's why I got the and so I moved on with that, and then I got to the so I figured out the verse. And I'm like, okay, for the chorus, so where would it naturally go next? And I figured that out, and I'm like, okay, so what's the opposite of that? And I just went as far away from that as I could. It was basically another key change. And then even in the chorus, when I was writing that, I think like the last chord of the main riff or the first section, it wasn't flowing, or it sounded too, I don't know, too comfortable. And so again, I just changed one chord in it, and I was like, oh, that's the chord I want to hit. So that's what I did. I went through, and the difference with this song, I actually used a producer this time. So that was a different experience, because usually I do all my stuff at home, and then I do send it to a guy to mix and master. But this time I did the demo and sent it to a producer, and he came back with all kinds of ideas and stuff like that, and did some of the recording of the stuff I didn't want to do, and we worked on it together, and I really love love how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds fantastic, right? And when typically what I think when I hear indie artist is, one is, oh, they've got a day job, right? And two is, it's lower quality, and that's why it's not signed. But look, I'll be real with you. I've listened to music my whole life. Like, this is top shelf stuff what you've put out. Like, it's very, very impressive. It gives indie a very, very good name and a good look. So very well done.
Well, that was one of the things when I came back to music. I mean, I did the album with Logan. We just did it ourselves, and it wasn't the greatest quality. But I was like, if I'm going to do this on my own, I'm going to make sure it sounds like something that I wouldn't be embarrassed to play. I mean, actually, one of the things that I thought was, I've been doing music for a while now, and I've never gotten a good recording, so I don't know how good I am, because if I do let people listen to it, they're like, oh, I think it's good. The quality's a little, rough, but it sounds like a good song. And I'm like, okay, so do I really have good music or not? And I never knew, because I couldn't get out of the way of the fact that it just sounded not great, or not like something that you would hear on streaming. So I was determined, like I said, to and if I could only afford to put out one song a year to get somebody who mix and master it well, then that's what I would do, because it was more important to me to hey, let's clear that hurdle of sounding like it's been recorded in a in a airplane tunnel, and get past that, and see how this music really sounds. So that's what I did, and as I've gone on, I've tried to improve as I've gone on, and I get really comfortable with the drummer that I used and the mix master guy that I used for many of the songs, almost the whole second album, a lot of the first and almost the whole second album. That now I'm like, okay, I'm a little too comfortable, and I think there are still things in my music that don't sound the way I want them to, so I want to try to improve. So that's where I decided, hey, I'm gonna have to, again, slow down my writing process to be able to afford it, and work with a producer to see if I can get better. So to me, it's always about trying to improve as much as I can. So it means a lot when somebody says, this sounds good, this sounds like something that I would hear on the radio, and not something that sounds like you recorded in your house. So because again, that just removes that barrier of, is this a good song or not? I don't know because I can't hear it. So
Yeah, I mean the quality was incredible. So talk me through the creative process. Like you recorded, like what did you record, and then you collaborated. I think you said with a drummer, and there was most probably a producer on this. Is that accurate?
yeah, well, so I used the drummer I regularly use to do the demo, and I wasn't sure I was going to use a producer. So
Okay,
I do a drum track myself, just sometimes just a loop,
like some
and
scratch
do the
tracks.
music.
Okay,
Yes, and I send it to the drum guy that I work with, um, and he does drum parts, and I'll give him feedback. We'll go back and forth maybe once or twice. And then what I did this time was I kind of shopped around for a producer, and I looked at Sound Better is a great website for music professionals. So I went on there, kind of put in your kind of around your budget and whatever, and you can go pick people, or you can say, hey, here's my project, and then you'll get like offers from like people that'll see what you want to do and offer to work with you. Yes, Hosty. Yes, it's all live drums now. So anything on I'd say the 3 or 4 songs in the first album, and then all of my second album, and everything I've done since then have all been live drums.
okay,
Yeah, Glenn Wellman was the name of the guy that I work with for the drums. It's done most of my drums. And so I found a producer. Is actually he was the bassist for Lacey Sturm.
okay.
He used to be a lead singer for Flyleaf.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name. Ben. I should know it, and I'm going to look it up here while I'm talking. But basically, I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I like your style. He's got some modern music credits under his belt. It's Benjamin Hall is his name.
Okay.
And he's got some modern music. And I went to his website and listened to some stuff and said he's got some modern stuff, because I kind of wanted to move a little bit more towards modern sounds, and modernize my music a little bit. So I said, hey, I do a lot of stuff that sounds like Out in Chains and stuff like that. Here's a demo. Tell me what you think. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to work with you. We did a Zoom call. I talked about it, decided on the money money figure and streaming revenue and all those boring details, but more importantly talked about the music. And he was very intent on making sure that I knew that that it was my project, and that he was going to make sure that he listened to what I wanted out of it. Right. And so so he came back with some ideas, and asked if I wanted to use my drummer, or he had a drummer, and I'm like, let's use your drummer. Doing everything new. So walked through the structure of the song, didn't change that a whole lot, added a few suggestions here or there, some suggestions for the harmonies and stuff like that, and then decided whether or not I was going to actually play the guitar or not. And I decided I was going to, and then I decided not to. I'm like, you know what? I want to sound the best as I can, and I'm not a great guitarist. So he did the guitars on it, did all the recording, got the drum tracks, and again, every step of the way, he'd send me, a track, a rough draft of it, and I would listen to it and give him.
Then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Give him feedback, and he would come back. Okay, great, and okay, great. And there's some that I was like, that's an amazing idea. And there was a couple ideas where I was like, I'm not feeling that. He's like, okay, and then got to the end of it, and even done in the mixing, sent me back a lot, and we went back and forth a couple times to get it just the way I wanted it.
So start to finish, how long does it take something like that? Like start to finish?
Well,
polish.
We weren't really rushing it. And he had a couple other projects he was working on. I mean, I think it took about a month and a half.
Okay.
But we could have done it faster. Yeah, we could have done it faster if we were both needed to or whatever. And we talked about that at the beginning as well, like how long you got to take. And I'm like, hey, let's just roll with it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's very interesting, and it's encouraging that one is you have creative control, but two is, given like you guys aren't all in a room, right? Kind of the standard approach for like a musician or a band is, we got a practice space, we get together, we write stuff, we record it, we fine tune it. Like I've got a screen behind me, and behind that is a whiteboard that our band used to write music. Like we would write things out and stuff like that. But given one is your indie and two is, you're collaborating with people that aren't in the same geographic space, do you feel that got in the way at all, or was it really just a non-issue?
I think that's going to depend a lot on the personality of who's doing it. For me, I'm not an in-person person. To be honest, I think there's something to that, and I remember our practices. I remember a couple other bands that I was in. There is something that is just very cool about getting in a room with a bunch of folks. But there's also, we'll talk about our band. I mean, we didn't really have a leader, I don't think. And I think at times some of us tried, and everybody else is kind of like, eh. And so there was this, I remember how we had some practices where we were just dead, and we didn't know what we were doing, and we we're just kind of screwing around, things like that. And so being an indie artist in that space for me is like, I feel better knowing that I'm in charge. I mean,
that's fair.
That's just the way I work the best.
Yeah.
Is when I'm like, hey, this is my track. And now I collab with folks as well. I got a couple of collabs that I'm way behind on that I want to do. I've had really good experiences collabing with folks, because then it's our project and we do it together. But it's it's just one or two people at a time.
Yeah.
And again, it's online. So, we do it at our own pace and things like that. So a lot of, no pressure in that regard. And just for me, it's just, I don't need that in-person stuff. And I think it can get awkward, and I think it gets in the way for me of making music. So
that's fair.
To me, there was no problems with it. Now, I could have gone out to his studio. He's in Pittsburgh, so not that far from me. I could have gone out and, listened to some stuff and sat down with him and recorded some stuff, but there's really no need. I mean, like I said, I don't think it messed up the process at all. And honestly, I would feel more under pressure being in studio with somebody like, hey, we got to get this done. We got to get this hammered out. Yeah. I can't go to bed and be like, okay, that's enough for today. I'm going to go to bed and, come back in the morning if you've only got studio time for, that day or something like that. So, I like it. And now with online, I mean, before, in the 90s we didn't have internet, but even in the early 2000s when I would try to do stuff, you couldn't send an MP3 through email.
Right.
You couldn't upload it and download it and stuff, or took over 56K, so it's great the tools that we have now and to be able to do that. And like I said, I think I probably work a little bit better that way right now.
Yeah. And it seems like, because I've been there, been in the studio, and it's, there's just no denying the reality that the clock is ticking, and every tick is, dollar signs. And I've found this to be true for myself, and maybe it's true for you as well, that creative groove, it's hard to get in that creative groove when there's so much pressure. Whereas it seems doing this kind of collaboration, it almost seems like the best of both worlds, that, you can sit down and write when you're in that correct headspace. So it's interesting that you had mentioned that. And also where we're at technologically is totally different from, we were in the 90s, right? And then the 2000s, it's a different universe now. And you smash up, there was a lot of, I don't want to say harm, but a lot of challenges posed by the COVID outbreak. But I think one of the benefits from that being the backbone internet speed is just fantastic now. I have a gig to my house, and you know what? I could upload crap all day long or download crap. It's a different universe than the days of 32, 56K modems. So,
well, I mean, look at what we're doing right now. I mean, this is insane. Right. I mean, you're talking to each other online, We got stream. We got Hosty watching the stream. Somebody else, you know. And Hosty says he finds online collaboration to be amazing too. He tries to be clear. He has a long time on, yeah. And that's the thing too. I also am clear when I do collabs. Like, I'm gonna try to do my best, but I got this going on. So you know, and I apologize if it takes too long, and people apologize to me if they take too long. But there's really no too long because you're all just like, hey, we're gonna do it when we all got jobs, we all got lives. You know, we're gonna do it when we can because we love it, and you know, so it just gives you some freedom there. But yeah, like you said, I mean, even this that we're doing right now, just even, you know, I don't know, even 10 years ago, really, this would have been a stutter fest, and you know, who knows who would have been able to watch and stuff. So yeah, technology has helped a ton in music.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many different moving parts to that. I mean, that's a whole dialogue in and of itself. We are getting the live BigBaldBen standing cam, so let's do this. The first track was fantastic. I'd like to jump right now to, I always introduce it as John McCain, but John McClane, which is an actual video on YouTube. So if you're okay with that, I'm going to throw that up and let's take a listen. Thumbs up, 7 up.
Let's do it.
All right, stand by for ludicrous speed. Do 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 do.
We need some help, my friend. Knock it a million times again. Service sun is 58. French is colder with the way. Christmas will never end. It's good we know a man who can put them into place. Add a cherry at your base. 'Cause I don't recognize the world around me. A million
Nice segue. I threw in a little bit of the interview just to buy me some time to technically get things switched over. So, wow. So John McCain is more than just a decorated war vet. He's actually an action hero. So, wow. So let me ask this first and foremost. Like, I think some of this is going to be obvious for you to answer, but besides musical talent, like, what other skills have you brought into the picture, or the, I'm going to just use artist terms, right? You've got like your workspace there, and you put a lot of stuff together. Like, what other skills did you bring in to create such a video?
Well, I mean, it's like my guitar playing, man. I don't really care about playing guitar. I just do it because I write songs. I'm a songwriter and first, and a singer second, and then I gotta write it on something. So I play enough guitar to be able to write, and then and just like this as well. Like, I want to do videos, so I got to figure out how to do videos. I want to send my demos out, and I want to get it mixed, so I got to learn how to do the digital audio workstation. I got to know a little bit about mixing. I got to know how to do the levels right. For this one, I had to buy a green screen. I had to figure out how to use that. I had to figure out how to use video editing software, graphics, things like that. Throw them in there. I got into the some of the graphics on the screen for the news banners. I had to figure all that out, and it was pain in the patukas. I know we're PG-13, so that's what I'll say.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But I started it, and I had an idea, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I got to do this, and I got to get the idea right, and I did. And you saw me there on the green screen, like I did so many takes of all those things, and then there was 3 of me on the screen at the one point. And it's like I did, I'd go through each one, I'd do the whole song, and then pick out the ones where I wasn't making a stupid face, or or my nose hairs weren't violently visible, or whatever, and cut that piece off. And then there were some that was like nothing usable. And so sometimes I just threw in some static and things like that. And just tons of stuff. Hey, Forest Blue, what's up?
Welcome to the chat.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
joining us, Forest Blue.
So I just threw in a bunch of, throw in all that stuff. I had to learn how to do it. So that's, same with social media. Like, I got to know, TikTok, man. What the heck? Instagram Reels. I had no interest in any of that stuff. But if I want people to hear my music and be able to find me, well, that's where they're going to find me, and they know what's coming out next. That's what I got to do. So, yeah, this is part of being an indie artist. You've got to figure out, what you want to do, and then you got to figure out how to do it.
So many hats.
So that's,
so many hats to be worn.
Yeah, you got to wear a ton of them.
One is musically, I mean, fantastic job. Like, great music, very catchy. The punch, like, you have so many just well-executed punches in that kind of hook the listener. And then again, I'm just going to reiterate, like, your signature style, to my ear, is like that, just a fantastic use of layered vocals. And that's really hard to pull off, in my opinion, because there's so many things that could go wrong, and yet you pull it off effortlessly.
Well, can I share a secret with you?
We're listening.
That I don't think I've said in any of my interviews or on stream anywhere.
You've heard it here first. Got it.
All right, I'll tell you a little secret. So, from our days in Cesspool, we were a very loud band, and my vocals were very loud. I did a lot of borderline screaming. But I had a very, I think we could say I had a pretty powerful voice. I think that's fair to say. Well, I'm getting old now, and my voice is not so powerful anymore. And so, as I was starting this journey back and trying to think about, okay, I know what my likes are and what my sounds are and stuff, and I'm like, I'm bordering on 50 years old here. How long can I scream if I can get my voice back into that shape again? I don't know. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to do something different. And I've always liked singing harmonies, and so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on that. And so I think you can see through my music, you know, progression wise, like I sing and then I add harmonies, but really started in that first album to figure out what I wanted my harmonies to sound like. And wanted them to be distinct, and I pulled a lot from Alice in Chains and the way that they do the certain level harmonies. And so it was really, again, just like kind of like you know, the video thing. It's like I had to work with what I have, and so I decided that I wanted to do the harmonies, and I wanted that to be kind of my signature vocal style instead of the, you know, the more powerful stuff that I used to do when I was younger. And so, you know, again, indie artist, mother of invention kind of thing. You know, for the Indie Boom Shockwaves theme song, I yelled, but I was able to kind of semi-yell, and then I put, you know, some distortion over it so it sounds like I'm yelling more than I actually am.
Smart.
So, you know, just do different things. But I appreciate that because I really do. I really worked hard on the vocals, really work hard on the vocal layering. I double all my vocals, and then I double all the harmonies, and I usually do 2 or 3 harmonies. So most of my songs, the tracks are like, you know, I'll have like 20 vocal tracks, you know, throughout the song, you know, and then like a couple guitars and drum loop. You know, and then, oh yeah, and then bass, which I always forget about.
Okay, Metallica, you left off the bass.
Yeah.
So, and that's an interesting point. And like I'm reminded of bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Metallica, where in their early days, you know, they were blowing out their voices left and right until they learned basically how to play their instrument, right? And knowing their limitations. And
yeah, I mean, if you learn how to do it right, you shouldn't be blowing your voice out. But because, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, look at Axl Rose. I mean, young voice, you got the elasticity to do what he was doing when he was younger, and now he cannot do it. And I don't know if that's a result of him, you know, not knowing how to use his instrument, like you said, or just the fact that he's old and nobody can hit those notes when you're that old. I don't know. But there's a way you can do it if you learn it. But yeah, that's a good point, though. I mean, when you're young, you got energy. I think that comes through in the music and in vocals, and you want to be energetic and get that out, and then like you said, as you get older and you learn new tricks. I mean, it's just like Michael Jordan, man. You know, he could just do things athletically that nobody else could do, but he knew if he wanted to win a championship, he's going to have to bulk up and play some defense and get tougher so that his body wouldn't wear down. And, you know, he did that stuff. So I think that's all what we do. We all work with what we've got. We all work with the way things are changing. And yeah, that's kind of what I did as well. So
it's well said. And given that you're indie, like really, there are exceptions, most notably, you know, you sending away for guitar and for drums, but really it's like a band of one. There's no one to hide behind, but what you've done vocally is being able to layer those vocals to almost take the pressure off, like, you know, the standard rock quartet model, which is you have a lead vocalist that's carrying most of the load. You're still doing that, but given that you're layering the vocals so well, it's almost taking the pressure off you having to overperform and running the risk of blowing out your voice. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't have to. Yeah, because I would feel like, you know, even with Cesspool, you know, I was the vocal presence, so I felt like my singular lead vocal had to carry the band, as far as vocals go. You know, you were the only guitarist, so I'm sure you felt the same way. Right. That was it. You know, and so I feel that way in my music, and you know, like you said, I write it. I'm okay with other people playing it, but ultimately, you know, it's my song, and there's nowhere to hide behind that. Yeah. I think no matter how good of artist you have playing music, you can be the best artist and just write songs that are just, you know, that just don't speak to people, or or nobody likes, and doesn't matter how good a musician. You know, I mean, Dream Theater is a good example of that. I mean, I don't know.
Thank you for that.
Kidding.
Thank you for that. You know, I'm a big Dream Theater
Tom was a
fan.
big Dream Theater fan, so
appreciate
but no, Dream Theater aside, but because they're obviously excellent. But you know, to get, you can get in the way, you know, with some of that stuff, and yeah. Anyway, sorry, babbling a little bit, but
No, that's, you know, this is like the fireside chat. So, you know, I appreciate your frankness. So let me just break in on a strange, difficult topic. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You had something to say?
yeah, no. Force Blue had a good comment. He says for a long time it was just him, but lately it's becoming more about sharing the load. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it as well, and part of kind of what I was saying earlier was like, you know, I was doing guitar, I was doing bass, and I don't know anything about bass. It's just
It's like
guitars with thicker strings.
I mean, it's not that
It's
hard.
guitar with thicker strings, and I'm like, I don't know, just play something that sounds, because I'm not a bass player, and you know, so I was trying to do it all myself, but that's limiting. It's very limiting because again, my goal is the songwriting. So if I can get someone like Benjamin Hall, who played bass for Lacey Sturm, can play bass on my track, it's just going to elevate it. It's still my song. It's still the song I wrote. But, you know, he helps out with that. Same with the drummers. I mean, I can't play drums. I can program some drums in, but, you know, it's usually nonsense because I'm not a drummer. I don't know how to do it. So, yeah, that's a good point that Force Blue made. Is like, you know, share the load on this stuff. It becomes more freeing because, you know, and I think at first, too, you're like, I don't want anybody else to, you know, impose their vision on my dream or whatever, but it's still your song, still the things that you do. So I hear you, Forrest. It's the same thing with me that I'm kind of realizing now. It's like I don't have to do it all myself if I don't want to, and probably I should let people that are good at the things that they do those things, and I'll just stick to songwriting, writing it, and singing it, and that'll be that. So. With you on that one.
No, well said, and I appreciate that. That's a great comment. I appreciate the interaction, like especially in the chat, like only the host, Forest Blue, like you guys are awesome. Appreciate your feedback, and there's so much. Like at this point, I'm sure we're all like grizzled old sea dogs, right? That we've been around musically. No, it's encouraging. Like for me specifically, right? Lifelong musician, but I'm an old guy now. Like, where do I go? You know, studio albums out and, you know, gigging and that whole thing. But I'm like, you know, 50. So what do I do? So the indie artist, I don't even know what to call it. I'll call it a movement, just for lack of a better term. Like, the indie movement is very encouraging for me, but also I'm sure for a lot of the people that are listening that, you know what, like, just give it what you got and let that be enough. So that's very encouraging. I thank all of you for, you know, for that kind of feedback, because it's, you know, it's encouraging when you wake up in the morning and you're like what have I left the world a better place? Have I captured maybe some of my own world experiences? And being able to go into the indie space and, you know, maybe put yourself out there is a very encouraging thing. So thank you for that. So
yeah, I mean that's huge because, you know, like I said, until I started, you know, back in this musical journey, I had no idea that all this stuff was out there. And Forrest Blue said in the chat about NAS and Indie Boom. I mean, you know, just to have those places, and so now it's like I can make this music and play music, and people will hear it and listen to it, and I'm like, that's all I really wanted. So, you know, it keeps you going. So I've made an impact on some people, one or two people that said they like my songs, and that's more than I thought I'd make. So I'm happy with that.
Well said. And at the end of the day, you've done this. Like, we write because that's part of who we are, right? Like, we couldn't not create. And at the end of the day, it's got to be good enough for you, but it's very gratifying and encouraging when you can find like-minded musicians and even, you know, people apart from your spouse who say, oh, that's great, or I love what you did here and stuff. Like, it's, you know, it's good stuff, and it's, you know, that's an encouragement, I think, to anyone listening, that, you know what, it's never too late to start creating. So, and I'm going to take a step back, right? So the video, the John McClane video. I'm going to use a dirty word here, and it's called AI. Did you use any AI to create the video or no? Be honest.
Did I use any AI to create the video? No, I did not use any AI to create the video. I did use an AI kind of filter thing to do a promo, a short on YouTube and Instagram. One of the pictures of me singing, or one of the videos of me singing, and it kind of made it into a cartoonish kind of thing.
Got it.
So that was an AI filter or something. But other than that, no, I did not use anything for the video.
That's fair.
Why?
So what is your view on AI? Like there's it's kind of the hot topic of the day, right? And to be transparent, like my oldest daughter is in grad school as an artist, and you know what? She'll talk your ear off for a whole hour just on AI and the pros and the cons and whatnot. It's kind of the hot button topic of the day. So let me just ask you straight up, like, in 10 years, will we all be obsolete and AI will be writing all the Taylor Swift albums and all the new Public Enemy albums? Like, what's your view on AI? No pressure.
So AI, no, that's fine. AI is a really touchy subject in the indie space. I think it depends on if you're talking about, using AI as a tool that you use. I tune my vocals. That's not AI, but, maybe 20, 30 years ago, that would have been like insane to admit. And now everybody does it and you almost have to. Digital audio workstations, drums, drums, like I said on Reticent, those weren't real drums. Those were just sounds that were put together. Things like that. So there's tools and AI can be a part of that. I'm not sure the uses of it in individual spaces, but you can use it for things like that. I think it's just another tool. Where I have a problem is when you are using the prompt and you just write a prompt and then AI spits out a song for you. That's where I really have a problem. There's and people argue that there's creativity in that, but I don't see it. And it's pulling from, as you probably know, it pulls from the library of things that have already existed and just kind of uses that to make a song that's derivative of whatever the influences are that it's using or whatever you typed into the prompt. So that's where I start to have a problem with it because, and I understand there's all kinds of uses for it. Like, well, somebody can't sing and, so they get the AI vocalist to do it, or somebody can't play guitar, or, hey, terrible scenarios where amputees, can't play or whatever. I can't speak to that. I can just say that your question is, will AI take over and start writing this stuff? And I think unequivocally the answer is no, because AI cannot create they cannot create anything new. Again, and now it can sound different, or it can, you can mix and match things together when you type in the prompt or tell AI to do this or that, but it's not making anything new. And if you hear the AI music that's being made, and it's getting to the point where it's indistinguishable,
right,
it's not new. It's something else, sounds like something else. There will always be that human aspect of it where they go off in some direction that's crazy. And I think that there's a feel for that. I think there's always been a feel for that in music. I mean, you look throughout musical history at the things that people like and the things that change music. I mean, it's the Nirvana of our age, but before that, Black Sabbath, how they changed music, and Michael Jackson, how he changed music, and then the early rappers like Kool D, Run DMC, how they changed music. Into the early 2000s, new metal and how that changed things. So I can't even imagine that coming from AI, because they just don't advance. It only collects what's in the past and represents it. So I don't think we'll ever get to that space. I think that it will slowly fade and be kind of this off to the side niche thing that, is there. And I think the tools will get better. I think people will use tools more, but I'm not, and maybe I should be, but I'm not so worried about the AI prompting taking over and the AI actresses that I guess they're trying to sign some AI actress and all this other stuff. I don't worry about that. You look at the AI art, and I've used AI for some of my singles and album covers because, I don't know, I didn't feel like doing anything else. And it's good, but it's still AI, and you can tell, and it's not great. So I don't have a lot of worry about it. It does bug me when some of the prompters, I'm the last person to be elitist, but they try to act like, well, I made this song, and I'm like, I don't know, you typed the prompt. Did you really make it? So that's my opinion anyway.
No, that's fair, and there's a lot of good conversation in the chat, and I want to thank you guys for that. The resounding theme seems to be like, well, yeah, it's another tool, right? And given like generative AI or AI that generates content, I mean, the application is in music, it's in art. I work in InfoSec, and we use AI there, to identify like malicious threat actors and things like that. So, I mean, like anything else, it's a good tool. And I think, was it only the host or forgive me, Forest Blue, but it said in the chat, like, nuance, and nuance is key. Like, I can't imagine AI ever pulling a BigBaldBen where musically you expect music to go in a certain direction, and you're like, you're anti-establishment, I'm going here, like in a different tonal space and stuff. Like, AI learns and then it regurgitates, and it can do it differently, it can do it well, but at the end of the day, I appreciate that approach of it's another tool, and in the interest of transparency, I use AI, right? Like my theme song, I didn't feel like writing it all, so I cranked it out in AI in 15 minutes.
We'll fix that for you.
Thank you for that. And
once I get back into the studio with my back issues,
there you go.
I'll fix that for you.
Yeah.
We'll work on it together because I know you play a mean guitar. So
there you go. Yeah, I would be honored to collaborate.
Honestly, you're just starting out in the streaming space. You don't know much about the indie music scene. I mean, I think is what you're saying, and what's out there on Twitch streaming and stuff like that. So it makes sense. You're just starting out, and that's easy to do, and that's really an aside thing for you right now. You're trying to do stream and get off the ground with that. So
I'm an indie
I totally get it. I
have a day job.
Yes, I totally get that. But Forrest Blue said too. He's like, people have art that's really good and they don't use it because they think AI is better. That's new. That's new folks too. That's people insecure with themselves, and I think with you being new and stuff, and that's not your main thing, I can understand why you would do that. And we're gonna get you sorted.
There you go. You will fix me. No, I thank you for that. So I appreciate it. It's been very good dialogue. Let me do this. This was kind of unexpected, so bear with me, but I am going to throw us in a different direction here on the AI note. So give me one second.
I probably have about 10 minutes left.
Well, this won't take 10 minutes.
Okay, good.
It's time once again for the Wheel of Radish!
Wheel of Radish. So here's how it's going to work. BigBaldBen, can you hear me?
I hear you.
You can hear me? Not very well, though. So hold on and let me add Discord. Can you hear me now?
I can still hear you.
Okay, good. Can people out in the audience hear everyone okay before we do the Wheel of Radish? So this is literally me figuring crap out. So this is the Wheel of Radish. I'm going to give it a spin, and we have bizarre bonus questions. Rapid fire. You ready? Spin number 1.
Hit me.
Can you see the screen, BigBaldBen?
I can. On a 5-second delay. Or so I'm told.
All right, the topic is inner child. So here's your question.
Hit me.
Inner child. I'm looking it up on my list. This is highly technological. What was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon growing up, and why?
Saturday morning cartoon. I always liked the old Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny was always cracked me up. But I remember one show that I really liked called Galaxy High. It wasn't on very long, but I don't even know what it was. But it was high school in space or something. I don't really remember a whole bunch about it. But yeah, I'd have to go with that one just because I can't really remember. But I liked all the classics too. I don't know if Transformers or G.I. Joe wasn't Saturday morning, right? That was after school.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, any like 80s era cartoon are all Saturday morning to me, even though Transformers was like 3 p.m. every weekday.
Yeah.
You know, I'm revealing my 80s pop cultural side here, so thanks for being
Yeah.
with me.
Transformers, G.I. Joe, and then there was one called Cops. Fighting crime in a future time.
Wow.
I think it was only like 6 episodes of it, but it was my favorite. I still go on YouTube and I was able to find some of the episodes. It's insane.
Silverhawks.
And of course, 80s bad as well. So
80s bad.
Anyway.
Only the host just said
my-
Silverhawk, Mask. I mean, there's so many.
Oh, Mask. Yeah,
Mask
I forgot
was
about
great.
Mask.
Pokemon, that was a little later, like early 90s. Pokemon came out, and that was a big one, Dragon Ball Z. So a lot of the anime. There was one, this was probably the first anime I ever saw, Battle of the Planets, and it was like so different from everything because anime hadn't hit the mainstream yet, like with, Dragon Ball and Pokemon and stuff. So good answer. Let's spin again.
I really want to know what Burn It All Down is.
Super what? All right. So super what? What would be your superhero name, and what would be your superpower?
Superhero name would be BigBaldBen.
That was a slow pitch.
Yeah. My superpower. Ooh. Yeah. Something with time. Ability to stop time.
Like, we talking pause, or are we talking like jumping in and out of different time spaces?
Why not both? I was thinking about. I think about stopping time.
Interesting.
Because I think that would be cool.
Like an Adam Sandler click kind of thing?
Yeah.
Good one.
Except better.
We're spinning again. Ooh, here's a good one. Topic is fight, 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 fight. All right, you ready?
All right, hit me.
You have to step into the UFC octagon to do battle with one of the following bands. Which do you choose and why? Nickelback, Creed, Winger, Limp Bizkit, Hootie and the Blowfish, or Hanson?
I'd have to go. I'd have to go with Winger.
Winger.
Basically based on age.
A good choice. So of the
I was gonna
bands,
say Hanson,
yeah,
but I don't think they're 10-year-old kids anymore. So
they would probably
they're
beat
probably
us all
quite a bit
down.
younger than me. Limp Bizkit might be. I just think Fred Durst would. He'd be too conscious of everything that's going on to go down easy.
Yeah.
So
He might have the
I'd
chainsaw.
go with
going.
Winger just because I think they're older than me.
It's a good answer, and I'm thinking with Limp Bizkit, like their guitarist is pretty, pretty crazy, like out there. So that would be kind of the, the crazy ex-girlfriend syndrome going on there. Good answer. Let's take another spin.
I'll do one more.
You got it. Do you want me to go to Burn It All Down since you seem to like that one?
Sure, I want to know what that one is.
Okay. It landed on Guilty Pleasure. So we'll do a double question. Guilty Pleasure, what's your Guilty Pleasure song? Just one. That other people may not.
Spice World.
Spice World.
By Spice Girls.
That's a total Guilty Pleasure song. Good answer.
La 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 la.
Zigga Zig Ah. Different
No, not
song,
that one.
but it's the same band though, right? I'm more an Avril Lavigne guy myself. And I showed up for a gig once in the city with my band, a few years back, and I had was it NSYNC? I think it was Backstreet Boys. I had found at Goodwill a Backstreet Boys t-shirt, and I showed up to play at a metal club, and literally my bandmates made me take it off. And so, yeah. So, and it was Burn It All Down. So this is a good question, a good closer question for you. If you could change one thing about the music industry, what would it be?
You cut out there, but I think you said if I could change one thing about the music industry, what would it be?
Correct.
One thing. Good grief.
Just one. And I know, look,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm tapping into, you went to grad school for this, right? You have an MBA and whatnot. You have a lot of knowledge about this. I'm very curious on your answer to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking from an artist's point of view. If there was just a way to get the label money out of it, and just be about music, that would be the best. That anybody really could have a chance for their songs, and based on the quality of their songs, to be able to be heard by lots of people, and that the cream would rise to the top. There's way too much money in it right now. Way too much corporate folks spinning the wheel, but that's kind of the way it's always been. But that is definitely one thing that I would change.
Yeah. That harkens back for me to, there was a big paradigm shift in the late 80s, early 90s, right? And it was, the industry had a stranglehold on creativity, and it was hair metal out the wazoo, right? And don't get me wrong, I like hair metal. Like, it was a good formative piece of my growing up. But then you had bands, like the Seattle Sound and alt rock, art metal, and look, Nirvana, and you had, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, like the Pearl Jams and Alice in Chains and Soundgardens. They really helped, I think, move music in a different and frankly better direction, more creativity based and less polish and money. Do you see any artists out there currently outside of the indie space, maybe more mainstream, that are pushing that envelope again?
No. I really don't right now. I mean, I like some things that certain bands do from time to time. I guess the one example I can think of is Bring Me the Horizon song, Kool-Aid, that they did, released a few maybe a year ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
That one really stuck out to me, the way it mashed things together and brought things together in a way that I don't think sounded like anything else. So I think that there's always going to be folks moving and pushing the boundaries of stuff. But as far as one particular band or artist right now, yeah, I don't see the Nirvana, I don't see the Beck, I don't see anything right now. But I mean, if I could, I'd probably make a lot of money. So
there you go. So it's wide open for an indie breakout, if that's...
Oh, sure.
Even if that's possible right now, right, musically.
Yep.
You're stepping into a very big ring against, the Taylor Swifts and where do you go from there? It's an interesting question, and maybe it is bleak. Who knows? But we can hope, right? So I can tell that we are drawing to a close. So let me just say first and foremost, BigBaldBen, longtime fan, longtime friend, like you're my brother, I love you. Thank you for the time here. This has been very informative, not just for me, but for all of the the listeners. Like, this is good stuff. I would encourage any indie musicians, absolutely don't give up. And if anyone ever wants to share music, Ben, as well as, and I thank you, all the people in the chat, only the host and Forest Blue, like, thank you for sharing a lot of resources for indie music. Networking, I think, is where it's at. So thank you for sharing all of that. Ben, as always, it's been a pleasure. You're awesome. I would give you a very large man hug and a big sloppy wet kiss right on your big bald cheek if you were here. So thank you. And again, thank you to all the people in the chat. Thank you for showing. And, next week I'm planning family game time. So it's going to be a little change of topic. But this is, this stream is a developing thing. It's extending my love for radio back into, the 90s. And it's really, like, I don't like being locked into a genre. So last week, me and my son and I played Fortnite the whole stream while he was in character in his fake Donald Trump voice. So that was the whole stream. Next week might be more, family gaming where it's interactive with everyone that shows up. But you know what? I'm flexible, and that's why I do this. So stay tuned and we'll see what's going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be your first outside family guest. Yeah, and I'm interested to see what you do with this space. Like I said, there's the state of indie music streaming right now is fantastic, and I think there is a spot maybe for this kind of long form interviews of some folks. And I know this would be a good, if you want to continue to do this aspect of it, there'd be a lot of artists that would be interested in coming on and sharing about their music. So you did a great job with the interview, man. Liked it. And thanks only the host and Force Blue, man. Thanks guys for checking in. That it really adds a lot to the stream. Dom and I talk all the time, so it's nice to have an audience for once. But yeah, thanks Dom. I really appreciate it. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, they can find me on X at BigBaldBen Music or on Instagram at BigBaldBen Music or at BigBaldBen.com. That'll take you to my LinkedIn page. So
got it. Appreciate it. Thanks to all, and I am going to sign off. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Tom.
Fluffy red